Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel Eddie in Reading Land. My name is Eddie and today I'm bringing you my favorite depictions of the Hierophant. Okay guys, let's see. To get started with the Hierophant, like usual I'm gonna ramble a little bit around the beginning of the video, but I did have, when I was learning tarot, I did have a little disconnect with the Hierophant card, and that was probably because in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, the Hierophant literally is represented by the Pope, and Catholicism and organized religion has never been something that is important in my life. Even though I was raised in Costa Rica, my mom was not very Catholic. She's never been very Catholic. And so she never really imparted any of the beliefs onto us from that religion. Obviously, living in that culture, you do absorb a lot of the things. But fun fact about me, I was excommunicated from the Catholic Church when I was 17 years old. That was a whole ordeal. They even called my mom and everything on the phone. We got like a letter from the Vatican or from the diocese in Costa Rica. I don't even remember what it was, but it was a whole thing. Basically, I was excommunicated due to heresy because I argued that animals in fact have souls. And the church very much did not like that, guys. And Costa Rica is a very Catholic country. So, yeah. Hierophant, guys. Hierophant. But, looking at the Hierophants that I chose for my favorite representations of the Hierophant, I can definitely see how I relate Hierophant with teachers. And I really like that. I really like looking at Hierophants as teachers better because I feel like Hierophants are that part of ourselves where we are able to impart information or teach skills and teach theory unto others so that that information is actually spread and carried on throughout others into another culture, and so that we are able to expand as humans, and humans are also an institution, and I very much like that about the Hierophant. The aspect of teacher of the Hierophant, I really, really like it. I don't necessarily equate the Hierophant with spirituality anymore, even though I can definitely see the relationship. But like I always do, I have 2 honorable mentions and then my top 3. So, for my first honorable mention, it is the Hierophant from... Whoops. Here we go, guys. Let's see. There we go. It's a Hierophant from the Dream of Nile Tarot by Emma Zhang. And I just really, really like this Hierophant card for various reasons. Not to mention that I like the brightness of the card. It works really well with... let me see if I can make this less bright. There we go, guys. Let's see. So you guys can actually see the details of the Hierophant over here. But there you go. You see how bright this white is? God, I just really enjoy how she did that with the cards in this deck. But this is an honorable mention because even though this Hierophant does not look like a teacher, I really like the representation of the Hierophant actually absorbing the energy through the pyramids, the energy of the universe, as you guys can see. The energy of the universe through the pyramids onto his mind, literally, and then expanding that mind as it absorbs information, as it absorbs intelligence. I really, really enjoy this depiction. The only reason why it's not on the top, it's because I don't see this Hierophant actually teaching anyone. But the representation of the card is just so amazing, and I love the contrast of the colors. I love the very bright down here against the very dark over here. It just works out for me so well. And I mean, it's also Egyptian theme, and I'm all up for Egyptian theme, anything. Egyptian tarots, Egyptian oracles. I really, really enjoy that. I do enjoy Emma Zhang's work. It's very original. It's very soothing for me, and this representation of the Hierophant definitely ticks all of those boxes. So, but that is why it is on my first honorable mention. My second honorable mention is actually the Teacher. Here we go. From the Botan Tarot by A. Miyako M. The artist's name is actually Addie, but that's the name that she chose to provide with the tarot. So this card is literally called the Teacher, and that is a-okay with me. Teacher is definitely the best keyword that I can think for the Hierophant, in my opinion. Obviously, there are other keywords that I equate with the Hierophant, but Teacher is definitely a name that I actually prefer for the Hierophant instead of that Pope sort of feel that the Hierophant tends to have. But I really, really enjoy the depiction of this card. This card has a lot of symbology. If you read the zine that Addie wrote for the tarot, we learned that these, well, I mean, I knew these were ginkgo leaves, but I did not know that ginkgo trees were actually literally dinosaurs. They haven't changed their genetic makeup in millennia. They're still the same. They're still the same tree. And I find that incredibly powerful, especially tied up with the Teacher in this case, because it just brings up themes of tradition and structure, and keeping that structure constant and ever growing. So I really, really like that. The Teacher on this is wearing a Mempo mask. I believe that when I did my first impression, I didn't know what the mask was called, but I asked Addie on Instagram, and she said that this is called a Mempo mask. And it's actually usually depicted as Oni, which are like Japanese demons, or sort of Japanese demons. But this one is actually based on the bull, because the Hierophant is the trump of Taurus. So she just wanted to make a reference there to Taurus. And not only that, but this Teacher is a calligraphy teacher. And that's why this person is carrying a brush with ink and also a scroll. So, and calligraphy goes back to ancient Japan. It's an art that hasn't changed barely at all. So that also plays well with the Teacher in this case for the Botan Tarot. Really, really like the depiction of this card. This card actually took the other card that I had for my honorable mention. It was the Hierophant from the Black Tarot by, what is her name? Victoria Iva. That card depicted it had a different feel for the Hierophant, and that's why I also like it. But it would be number 6 versus this would be number 4. But yes, so for my top 3, and starting with number 3, I have the Wise One from Tarot of the Abyss by the very talented and very enigmatic Anaturian. I have 2 of her decks, but Tarot of the Abyss is probably my favorite of the 2 that I have from her. Mostly because she has the numerological representation of the 3 and the 10 of Swords. And I really, really like that. Very few artists do that, so that's why I like it. But anyway, we're talking about the Wise One. I really, really enjoy this card for various reasons. We have a different representation of a Hierophant with a shaman. And not only that, I like that this shaman is literally in a bonfire circle teaching and spreading his knowledge unto 2 others. And I like to think that these are a man and a woman. And I like that this shaman seems not to have bias between men and women. And I really, really like it. I like that anybody who shows the skill is able to be granted his knowledge and his teachings. All of this is being communicated through the Wise One in Tarot of the Abyss. Not only that, but it also, we know that shamanism is a very traditional for various indigenous cultures, and the only way that not the only way right now, but back then, the only way that they have to pass that information was just like this, having apprentice, which I'm sure they don't call their students apprentices, the shamans. I'm not really sure. That would be fascinating to know. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and know for myself. But I really, really like this. I like also the fact that we have this fire representing this coming together and this warmth, and definitely also tradition. But I like the Wise One in this tarot because it doesn't feel institutionalized. It feels very warm and very comforting, and it feels very appropriate, and it feels also very, very old, almost ancient in knowledge and in intelligence. So I really, really like this. And I also really, really like the fact that this is black and white. It just makes this tarot even better, in my opinion. I really, really enjoy that Anna decided to use the line work to provide depth and also light to the card. I just really, 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 really like that. She did an excellent job with these cards, guys. But this Wise One is definitely number 3 because the other 2 that I have here are better representations of teachers, in my opinion. But so the next one, number 2, is the Hierophant from the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. Here we have another indigenous person, but this is White Buffalo Woman, and oh my god, is it so appropriate for White Buffalo Woman to be the Hierophant in any tarot, in my opinion. I mean, this is basically an ascended master being depicted on a card, and I really, really, really like it. I like the fact that the card is also very colorful. I like that. I like the complementary colors. I like the stark white with her black hair. I like the fact that she is literally open up her hands as if to provide the knowledge that she definitely has and provide it to all of us, not only just one person, but I feel like those hands both are a representation of giving and also welcoming inside her hut or her dominion. I really, really, really enjoy the fact that we have a bull skull over here. Again, because it ties it up with Taurus, and as we all know, the Hierophant is the trump of Taurus. I really, really like it, but I like the fact that we have a skull here because it contrasts with death and life, and that sort of also feels very appropriate for the Hierophant. You know, the understanding that without death we are not able to appreciate life. That's a different sort of lesson that sometimes we're not able to see, and it's really hard for some of us to actually accept. But that imparting of lesson and that so philosophical themed lesson is definitely part of what I see in the Hierophant. And I also really, really enjoy the fact that this Hierophant is a woman. I don't feel like the Hierophant should just be male. We have a really great representation of the Hierophant here with White Buffalo Woman. And if you guys read on White Buffalo Woman, she is a very important figure in a lot of indigenous cultures and indigenous myth and storytelling. She is basically this incredible teacher, and she's always there to provide guidance. And I really, really, really like that. I like that we have that aspect of the Hierophant of the Hierophant that we rarely get to see, and that is a more feminine, more receptive sort of energy. And for that reason, this is number 2. And also, not to mention that White Buffalo Woman is actually very ancient, even though she looks very young here. And I also like that about the Hierophant. I like when a Hierophant looks old or ancient or old. And the reason why this is number 2 is because of that. She actually looks young. I know that White Buffalo Woman is actually very, very old, but she does look young. And the first card represents that ancientness a lot better. And that card is the Hierophant from the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Puimunlo. This was the card that allowed me to see the Hierophant in a different light, in the teacher or professor sort of idea, versus having the Pope or spiritual leader as the idea for the Hierophant. When I read the book that Barbara Moore, was it Barbara Moore? I think Barbara Moore did write the book for this tarot. She did, in fact, call this card a teacher, somebody who has acquired knowledge throughout the ages and is always ready to impart it unto others. And it doesn't matter if they're small or if they're big or if they're capable of understanding higher concepts or they're incapable of understanding them. There's always knowledge and there's always wisdom that can be imparted in different ways to other beings, people, children, elders, that if we take the time to learn how to impart those lessons onto them, they are still very much students. We are still very much able to accept that knowledge, accept that wisdom, and grow even when we are old. I like the fact that Stephanie decided to represent the Hierophant as a tree because, again, trees live for a very, very long time. They're literally absorbing nutrients from the ground and growing and spreading that growth and those years of intake and making it so that other trees are able to grow, and they're also helping out other bugs. And it's just very, very, very appropriate for the Hierophant, in my opinion. It's, again, another sort of warm and cozy feeling that I get from this Hierophant, even though he looks a little stern over here. Hopefully the camera is able to catch his expression. See? There's a lot of detail in this card. I mean, the Hierophant has a third eye, which just elevates his knowledge. And in my opinion, the third eye is a representation of elevated intelligence or elevated knowledge. And I really, really enjoy that. I love the fact that, as you guys can see, this is a fall scene, but we still have a green leaf over here waiting to be dried out. It works for me in so many levels. I love the staff that the Hierophant is holding. because again, it almost feels like he's a shepherd. Sorry guys, a shepherd, and oops, sorry, there we go. And that he is very much able to guide and to provide instruction for others. I really, really enjoy that. There are so many intricate details in this card, and one of the things that I find fascinating for this Hierophant as well is that we have the sun and the moon here being represented, which is very unusual for the Hierophant. Usually we only see things related to Taurus and things related to other religions and spirituality, but I think that we tend to forget that the sun and the moon have been very important for ancient civilizations and ancient religions back, I even know when, but I mean, the sun and the moon were the first things that humans ever observed and provided an offering and a whole religion to it. I just think this is just incredible, and obviously I love the fact that we have a lot of greenery in the background. I really, really enjoy that. I also like that this Hierophant looks very warm and comfortable. I mean, he's probably so old that he's comfortable in his own skin, and he doesn't really care how he looks. He only cares about what he's imparting onto others and what knowledge he's able to absorb so that he can actually give it to another. And that's what I enjoy about this Hierophant. Even though he looks ancient and he looks a little stern, I also feel like he is willing to listen, absorb more information, and be humble about it. And not only that, but be ready to impart that new information to others who may need it. All of that I see in this card, and that's the reason why I really, really like it. It makes a lot of sense to me that the Hierophant would be a tree because, again, trees can live for a very, very, very long time, and trees are actually very good communicators. Between themselves, they're very good communicators between themselves, and if we take the seed as a metaphor for planting a seed and then making that seed grow with an idea you're planting an idea in your head and then making it grow, develop it, it just makes total sense to me. So this is my favorite Hierophant. I really, really enjoy Stephanie Point. Well, this is also my favorite tarot, but this is definitely my favorite representation of the Hierophant. I wish that we can see more of this in other tarots. It just works really well for me. But yeah, so those were my favorite picks for the Hierophant, and my favorite depiction for the Hierophant from the decks that I have, guys. I don't even know what's going on with me today. I'm not being able to enunciate very well. Hopefully everybody understands what I'm saying. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Which one was your favorite Hierophant? What is your favorite Hierophant, and what deck is it? I would love to learn, and I would like to see more tarot that I'm not aware of, and I want to see your favorite representations of the Hierophant. So just let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely reply for you guys. Thank you so much for being today with me here in this video. I really, really enjoy doing these, and we'll see you in the other one. Bye, YouTube.